Assalamu Alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is your host Mohsin Patel. Welcome to our segment, Your Community with Mohsin Patel, brought to you by Hermain TV. Please download our app if you are using iPhone or Android. The app is totally free that you can watch our podcast every Friday live 6 p.m. Brothers and sisters, my dear viewers, last week we had a very special guest, a very interesting and very informative segment. We brought a Toronto police officers and we had a great discussion. We asked so many questions for rules and regulations. Also, we did a rapid fire questions. If you haven't seen that segment, please go and check it out on Herman TV, on YouTube, or on Facebook, or on every IPTV box. You can watch us live. Today, on your demand, on the viewers were confused and they were so calling us and telling us that we don't know, we don't have answers. The international students and the parents are calling us from India and they're asking us if my kid's gonna come to Canada, what's gonna happen? What can we do? Shall we send them? Shall we not send them? We are not our immigration officers. That's why we have an expert here with us in our studio. We have invited a very special person who can answer and who the question that all of you have there. We have an expert in the immigration. He is one of our brother, a community leader, and also very helpful to our community. So why not? We thought we should invite our brother. He is also an immigration officer, an immigration lawyer. So without further ado, let me introduce Altaf Patel. Altaf bhai, Assalamu Alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to Herman Studio. How are you doing today?
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mohsin bhai, I am doing good, alhamdulillah, and thank you for inviting me on this wonderful program.
Thank you, Altaf bhai. Thank you for coming. This program is very much needed. As you know, the rules has been changed and there were so many questions related to international students and also so many questions regarding the immigration, that spousal sponsorship, and there was so much of misunderstanding. So definitely you are the expert in our community, so we thought that the best person can answer and solve all these concern and queries about the international students, about the parents and the spousal who are not coming to Canada, why they're not coming to Canada. So today you are here with us in our studio. So Altaf bhai, I will ask you one thing, that if you can just introduce yourself to the viewers, who you are, what you do, what are your services are, and also where are you located, to our viewers, please. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mohsin bhai. So my name is Altaf Patel. I'm a lawyer and I'm a certified specialist in immigration law by Law Society of Ontario. My office is located at Markham and Shepherd. It's 1585 Markham Road. We are on second floor, 212. And I do all kind of immigration cases, from visitor visa to spousal sponsorship to federal court, judicial review, and everything. So I practice like almost everything in immigration law. Also, I do criminal defense work. So that's my area of practice basically.
That's good, very good, mashallah. That's why we call viewers the expert in the immigration. And Altaf Patel is known in our community. His office is right at Markham and Shepherd area, as he mentioned. If you need any kind of immigration, please do not hesitate to contact him, because the experience talk, you will see right after this segment, you will find out what kind of person he is. So Altaf bhai, as the Minister of Immigration changed the rules and regulations, there's so many rules that have been changed. They changed the rules for the GIC first from 10,000 to 20,000, and right after a few weeks, the very important change that came for our international students, that was starting from September 1st, 2024, if I'm not mistaken, that if they're coming to Canada, as the international students are coming to Canada to study, they won't get a PR or they won't get a work permit and they won't allow to work. Something like that. That's rumors going around. So I want you to tell our viewers, international students who are worried that if I come to Canada after September, I will not get a work permit or I can't get a PR. So can you please explain? So what are the changes and what can be done if you want to come to Canada after September 1st, 2024?
So, little clarification. There are few changes in the study permit applications, as you mentioned about the GIC.
Yep.
Instead of 10, they'll require 20K.
Yeah.
The another biggest change, I would say, is cap on the applications.
Yeah.
Right. So, IRCC declared that commencing 22nd January 2024, the students who want to apply for the study permit application, they would require a attestation letter from the province where they want to study.
Yep.
Right? And they are going to put the cap, so they're going to process only around 364 to 365 applications in a year,
Yep.
which is 35% less than 2023.
I
So
see.
that's the biggest change, I would say. And this would be implemented for next 2 years.
Yep.
Right? And in 2025, IRCC will reassess the situation and will come up with different policies. Maybe we don't know that yet. So that would be biggest impact. And also some of the programs would not be eligible for the postgraduate work permit. So it's not that everybody is not going to get postgraduate work permit. Some of them would be not eligible. Also, the biggest change, another change would be down the road is that right now the spouse of a student is getting open work permit. So only people who are studying in the PhD or master's or doctoral level, their spouses would get the open work permit. Rest of the students' spouses would not get the work permit. As far as the PR is concerned, there is no such rule that they can't apply for PR. Of course, if they are here and they qualify for the criteria, they are free to apply for PR.
No, definitely. This why, Altabai, and if you can tell me, who will be not impacted by the cap?
Okay, so the minors who are going to study in the primary or secondary school, they won't be impacted by this new change. Also, the students in master's and PhD level, they are not going to be impacted. And the students who are already here and whose study permits are going to expire, if they want to renew, this new cap would not impact them.
So the new cap is not going to impact them. So is this a permanent change or is just a temporary base?
No, so it's a temporary measurement, as I mentioned earlier. So it's there for 2 years for now. In 2025, IRCC will reassess the situation and come up with the new policies.
So viewers, I hope the people who are concerned and worried about coming to Canada, your dream is still open. You can still come back. The immigration lawyer is just passing the information to you that the cap is only for 2 years. It's not permanently closed. It might come back again after the 2 years because I think, Altabai, it's a lot of students that coming to Canada. I think Canada is trying to put down some pressure down, settle it down, and then once everything back to normal, I think then it might get open it again.
Mohsin bhai, you are right, because you might have noticed that lately so many students came to Canada, and that has put burden on our housing, health, and employment sectors. So to stabilize the growth, The government has come up with this temporary measure. So once the growth is stabilized, they have to reassess and reprogram the policy.
So my understanding is when the immigration minister, when they announced it, that after September 1st, 2024, nobody can come for a study and it's going to be capped for 2 years. What about the people coming before September? Are they allowed to get work permit or that the PR, the whatever the process is?
Okay, so the September change would be for the postgraduate work permit for the students and the spouses, but this new change is effective from January 22nd, 2024. So now if anybody wants to apply for the study permit, he or she has to get the attestation letter from the province first.
I see. Yep.
And submit the application. If they don't do that, the IRCC will return the application and refund the fees. So that's the first hurdle. It's already started.
I see. Altabai, so also it's coming to one question that coming in my mind, that what will be the changes issuing open work permit to the spouses of the student?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, that all spouses of the students are not going to get open work permit. Only the students who are studying in PhD or master's or doctoral level, only their spouses are going to get the open work permit. Rest of the, if somebody is studying in college program, their spouses are not going to get the open work permit.
They're not going to get the work permit. That's sound very okay to me as well. So Altabai, what I was going to ask you, that the question and answer is going to fluctuate it, because you're an immigration lawyer, and it's not only for just the student related information. This question I just started because there's so much of confusion out there. So we just want to clear it out, because we don't want to follow the rumors, because the WhatsApp nowadays, everybody wants to be an immigration lawyer, right? So everybody wants to be a politician. Like everybody on WhatsApp, everybody's a leader.
Yes.
But when we have an expert in the house, we want to hear from their mouth, and you're the only person who can answer them perfectly, betterly. Like if anybody are looking for that answer, 100%, it's you that you're gonna say. So when we talk about the immigration rules, let me ask you one more question that came from the viewers, that as now the immigration rules are getting changed, people are moving out of Ontario, right? When they move out of Ontario, they think that PR is easy, like a piece of cake for them, right? So according to you, do you think or do you suggest which province is best for PNP program?
Well, I would say there is nothing like best or worst, right? Every province has different programs, and candidates have to qualify and they have to meet the criteria. That's the first requirement. And most of the provinces are, the immigration programs in most of the provinces are based on the job offer from the employers. But there are a few where you can apply without job offers too. One of them is Saskatchewan and Alberta and Prince Edward Island. So they have really very good point systems. If the candidate does not qualify in the federal category, they can choose one of these provinces and try to get the PR there. But it's not piece of cake, never piece of cake for anybody.
It's just the rules and regulations of that province might be different.
And little bit easier than federal sometimes.
So the question is this, like, why we have to move out from here? Like people come here, and why they have to go there? Is that because of the less population, you think?
The less population is one of the factors, right? But I mean, for the development of the other provinces, they have better immigration programs, and they always have agreements with federal government to choose their own immigrants. So that's how it works.
Okay, Altabai, so that's the answer from our brother Altaf Patel. I hope the viewer, you're enjoying and you're listening very properly and very, because the problem is this, that the answer, whatever the answer coming from the Altaf Bhai, you have to understand and you have to listen, because when you ask us a question, we bring to their attention and they are the one who can answer the question. So now he said that 3 province that you can go for your PR status. So you have to keep in that mind, and if you have any questions regarding that 3 province also, please do not hesitate to contact Altaf Bhai, and 100% definitely he can help you out how to moving forward and how to get your PR. So Altaf Bhai, let's move forward. One more thing, when they get a work permit, so many people think that once their work permit is expired, what they're able to boost their score, and if the work permit is expired, what advice you can give?
Okay, so let me clarify one thing. Work permit is a different thing and point system is different one, right? But let's say, and we have to see the context, what kind of work permit the person is having, right? If I believe the question is coming from the students, so maybe it's a postgraduate work permit.
Yeah,
I assume that.
Yeah, there's so
right?
many questions that's coming out today, Altaf Bhai. It's from definitely from all the students, international students who are here already, and their brothers and sisters who wants to come to Canada. So they're asking, phone was non-stop ringing, and they're asking this kind of questions. And they said that when the immigration lawyer is coming to your studio, definitely, Mohsin Bhai, if you can ask this question on our behalf, so we're gonna be watch live, and they might be watching live to you right now, and they might be listening to you. So yeah, Altaf Bhai, please go ahead.
So definitely. So let's say if you, and the postgraduate work permit is one time only, unless there is a special policy to extend that. So you get only one time. Let's say if the PGWP is expired or is going to expire, you have few options. You can change your status from worker to visitor and figure out what to do next. Or you can apply for the study permit, but of course you have to pass the hurdle of the new changes.
Yeah.
And also you can get LMIA, and based on LMIA you can apply for another work permit, and down the road, if you qualify, you get enough score, you can apply for PR. So there are few options if the work permit is going to expire.
Altaf Bhai, when you said the point system is different than this work permit, so what is the criteria of the point system? If somebody wants to come on a point system basis, what are the options that they're looking for? How many points they need, and how they can come on a point system?
Okay, so basically IRCC allocates points based on your experience, language proficiency, etc., right? So to qualify, basically you need 67 points.
67 points.
That's the first criteria. Okay, but we have in Canada express entry system. What does that mean? That if you get 67 points, you can create a profile and be in pool.
Yeah.
There is a pool in express entry, right? So you be in pool if you are eligible to create the profile, and your profile is going to stay in the system for 1 year. During that 1 year, if you meet the CSR requirement, if let's say draw takes place and you have enough CSR to meet that draw requirement, then you are going to be invited to apply, and then you have around 60 days to make the formal application. So we have express entry, so everybody has to go through the express entry system, and they have different categories like federal skilled worker, Canadian experience class. If somebody is studying here, working for 1 year, they could qualify in Canadian experience class. So there are different streams, but the system is called express entry immigration.
Express entry immigrations. So Altaf Bhai, when we talk about this on this topic, two questions that's coming on my mind, like, right, it just telling me that when you said that point system, so is this the point system the way that you told the people how to get here, right? But is it you think the point system might come down?
Okay, so I mean, it's really hard to predict at this time, right? But this is immigration. You can, anything can happen. If you remember, around in starting of COVID or pre-COVID, there is a draw on 75 points,
Yeah.
and everybody was surprised. So it depends, but it can happen.
Yep.
It can happen anytime.
It can happen. It can happen anytime, as you said, and as we're watching right now, that GIC of the students went up, and then they changed the law. Okay, now we are gonna pause for 2 years. So you're right. Definitely, it can happen. It's an immigration. They can change wherever they wants to. 100% definitely. So Altaf bhai, let's move a little bit out of this topic right now, because there are questions. I'll come back to you on that. But one question that coming up in my mind right now is about the spousal, right? That what is the processing time of the spousal sponsorship? Because there are so many people, they're worried that if I get married, how long is it going to take for my wife to get here, or when should be coming here? The eagerness is always there. So what's the processing time?
Okay, so Mohsin, by IRCC has universal processing time, which is 13 months, right? But the processing time varies from visa post to visa post.
Yep.
So some visa posts are faster, like UK was the fastest one once, right? India many times fastest one. Right now we can see some of the applications under the spousal category, they process within 6 to 8 months. However, I mean, sometimes it can take longer depending on the complexity of the cases, right? But meanwhile, IRCC has announced that, let's say if somebody applies for the spousal sponsorship,
Yep.
and the spouse overseas can come on a visitor visa to unite with his or her partner.
Yeah.
So that's the relief. So while processing the sponsorship application, you can apply for visitor visa and be with your partner.
Oh, that's a very good sign. Is this something new that came out?
Yes, it's a new policy.
Wow,
So,
viewers, that's a very interesting and very good thing, that if your partner is in back home and if your file is already in process, he or she can come to Canada as a visitor visa.
yes.
Wow, that's a very good information that Altaf bhai, you're sharing with us today, and I'm glad that our viewers are enjoying who asked this question. So also, Altaf bhai, what is the process of the spousal sponsorship? If you can tell us a little bit about the process of the spousal sponsorship.
Definitely, Mohsin bhai. So basically, what is the legal requirement, right? So you have to prove, when you submit the spousal sponsorship, you have to prove that the relationship is genuine
Yeah.
between the spouses and is not entered for gaining the immigration benefit.
100%.
Right? So basically, the sponsor in Canada has to submit the sponsorship application. There are two stages.
Yeah.
So you have to file the sponsorship application in case processing center here.
Yeah.
Nowadays we do it online.
Yeah.
Used to have paper applications. We used to send paper applications to Mississauga, and once the Mississauga approved, it used to go to the concerned visa post. But now everything is online. So first phase is you have to submit the application to the CPC. And once they decide the eligibility of the sponsor, right, they forward the case to concerned visa post, wherever it is, UK, US, India, and then they would assess the relationship. So you have to really provide very good evidence of how you met your spouse, the communication, proof of communication, proof of financial support, all kind of evidence has to be submitted. Sometimes what happens, I mean, we think, the candidate thinks, oh, I have genuine marriage. Why would I give this evidence?
Yeah, definitely.
But it's your case. The onus is on you to prove the relationship, right? And it's a two-pronged test.
Yeah.
Genuine relationship as well as not entered for the purpose of gaining immigration benefits.
Yeah.
So it's a very hard threshold, and you have to really submit a very good application, very good evidence to get over with this.
So basically, you're saying that application has to be solid.
Yes.
When a time comes to get your spouse here, you have to contact a great immigration lawyer who has expertise like you, so they can sponsor or call their spouse as early as possible. So Altaf bhai, when we talk about sponsorship, I also want to find out that is that something if somebody has filed a spousal sponsorship and it is delayed for years, is there any incident or any cases on, if you can just elaborate, because you're an immigration lawyer and you know better than us, so is there any delays in this kind of sponsorship?
Okay, so yeah, sometimes when the case is complex or for a variety of reasons, the case may be delayed. But if there is an unreasonable delay or unjustifiable delay, and when you are not at fault, right, you have remedy. You can go to a federal court of Canada and ask for the writ of mandamus. What does that mean? Mandamus is you are telling court to compel the IRCC to take the decision on your application. So you have to put the IRCC on notice that if you don't process this application within certain period of time, I'm going to go to court, knock the door of the court, and ask court to intervene and compel you to make the decision. So that remedy is there if there is unjustified delay, and delay is not because of your fault. So that's the remedy.
Oh, that's the remedy if the case is gone delayed. So Altaf bhai, very good. I'm glad that you're answering all the questions that we are asking you, and I hope our viewers are also enjoying our segment. We have Brother Altaf Patel in our studio. I just want to let you know that he's an immigration expert. If you have any concern, any question, please do not hesitate to contact Brother Altaf Patel. So Altaf bhai, let's go back in the international student side, because I love to change the topic once in a while, because you also might get tired just answering about spouse. So I'm going back to the student side. And viewers, let me tell you one more thing, that Altaf bhai is also Gujarati, right? So Altaf bhai, અગર તમે ગુજરાતીમાં આન્સર થોડા આપી શકો આપણા વ્યુઅર્સને, તો એમની બી થોડી મજા આવશે, કેમ કે જ્યારે બી ગુજરાતી અમારા હરેમેન સ્ટુડિયોમાં આવે તો મારું તો પહેલાંથી જ મન હોય કે હું ગુજરાતીમાં જ વાતો કરું, પણ આપણે જે વ્યુઅરશિપ છે એમના માટે આપણે થોડું ઇંગ્લિશ, થોડું ગુજરાતી, થોડું મિક્સનો જે જમાનો છે તે કરવો પડે છે. તો એટલા માટે અલ્તાફ ભાઈ, મારો મોટો સવાલ એ હતો કે તમને કે જ્યારે આપણે આ સ્ટુડન્ટની વાત લઈએ કે પર્પઝ ઓફ LMIA, એમનો પર્પઝ શું હોય છે ને એ સ્કોર્સ કરી શકે જ્યારે તમારે PR લેવું હોય એના માટે, એના પર તમે અગર થોડી વાત કરી લો તો.
ચોક્કસ મોહસિનભાઈ, LMIA નું ફૂલ ફોર્મ છે લેબર માર્કેટ ઇમ્પેક્ટ એસેસમેન્ટ. એમાં શું હોય છે મોહસિનભાઈ કે યુઝ્યુઅલી કોઈ કેન્ડિડેટને સ્ટુડન્ટ કે કોઈ પણ વિઝિટર વિઝા પર આવ્યો છે, એ એમને કોઈ એમ્પ્લોયર જોબ ઓફર આપવા માટે રેડી થાય તો એ એમ્પ્લોયરે ESDCમાં જઈને LMIA લેવાનો હોય. એટલે એ ન્યુટ્રલ કે પોઝિટિવ લેબર માર્કેટ ઓપિનિયન મળે તો બેઝડ ઓન ધેટ વિઝિટર કે સ્ટુડન્ટ વર્ક પરમિટ કે એક LMIA હોય છે જે રેસિડેન્સી એપ્લિકેશનને પણ સપોર્ટ કરે છે, રાઈટ? તો બેઝડ ઓન that તમે 50 to 200 પોઈન્ટ્સ મેળવી શકો, જે તમને PR થવામાં પણ હેલ્પફુલ થઈ શકે.
સો અલ્તાભાઈ, મેં તમને બીજો સવાલ એ બી કરવા માંગતો હતો કે જ્યારે આપણે એવી વાત કરીએ કે એવું કોઈ સોલ્યુશન કે હોઈ શકે કે જ્યારે એમને PR લેવું હોય તો આટલા પોઈન્ટ PR માટે એમને જોઈએ જ.
ઓકે, તો આપણે આગળ ડિસ્કસ કર્યું એવું કે એક્સપ્રેસ એન્ટ્રી સિસ્ટમ છે અને ડ્રો સિસ્ટમ છે. તો CSR મીટ કરે અને જે લેવલ પર CSR ડ્રો થાય અને એટલા CSR કોઈ કેન્ડિડેટ ના હોય તો એને ઇન્વિટેશન ટુ એપ્લાય મળી શકે. હવે એને ઇન્ક્રીઝ કરવા માટે શું કરી શકાય? બેસિકલી તમે એવું પૂછવા માંગો છો, right? કે એ CSR ને ઇન્ક્રીઝ કેવી રીતે કરી શકાય? એક તો કે તમે ઇંગ્લિશનો ટેસ્ટ છે એ સારી રીતે આપો, IELTS, અને એમાં સારા બેન્ડ્સ લાવો તો એ તમારા પોઈન્ટ્સ ઇન્ક્રીઝ કરી શકે. અને એ સિવાય તમે થોડું ફ્રેન્ચ શીખો અને ફ્રેન્ચનો પણ ટેસ્ટ આપો તો એ તમને પોઈન્ટ્સ આપી શકે છે. અને બીજું છે LMIA પણ તમને 50 to 200 પોઈન્ટ્સનો વધારો કરી શકે છે. અને સપોઝ તમારું પ્રોફાઇલ સિસ્ટમમાં હોય, ધેન એવરી પ્રોવિન્સ ઇઝ વોચિંગ યુ. તો કોઈ પ્રોવિન્સ તમને ઇન્વિટેશન મોકલી દે ઇફ દે આર ઇન્ટરેસ્ટેડ. સો ઇફ યુ આર નોમિનેટેડ બાય દેટ પ્રોવિન્સ, તો તમને એના 600 પોઈન્ટ્સ મળે.
600 પોઈન્ટ.
યસ. સો આ બધી રીતે તમે તમારા પોઈન્ટ્સ ઇન્ક્રીઝ કરી શકો છો.
તો તમે આ વાત કરી રહ્યા છો પોઈન્ટ્સ કેવી રીતે ઇન્ક્રીઝ થાય. એક સવાલ અમારા પાસે એવો આવ્યો હતો કે મારે લોયરને હાયર કેમ કરવા? લોયરને હાયર કરું તો શું મારો PR સિક્યોર છે? તો એ જ્યારે સવાલ આવ્યો તો હું બી જરા શોક થઈ ગયો હતો કે વાય વી શુડ હાયર ઇમિગ્રેશન લોયર. તો અલ્તાભાઈ, તમે અગર એ થોડું એલોબરેટ, તમે તમારી મરજીની વાત છે, તમે ઇંગ્લિશમાં બી આન્સર આપી શકો છો કે ગુજરાતીમાં બી આન્સર આપી શકો છો કે આપણા બે વ્યુઅર્સને સમજ પડે કે વાય ઇમિગ્રેશન લોયર્સ આર ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ when it comes to this case.
Okay. So, Mohsin bhai, let me clarify one thing first, that there is no such requirement that you have to hire a lawyer to do any immigration application. You can do yourself if you are comfortable doing it. Most people think website પર બધું જોઈ એટલે આપણને લોયરની જરૂર નથી. વેબસાઇટ પર બધું લખેલું છે. But you have to keep one thing in mind: what is written on the website is not law. Law is different than. And the IRCC website, I would say, it's deceptively simple. It wouldn't answer you everything, right? So તમને લોયરની જરૂર એટલા માટે પડે કે lawyers are legally trained to do things. They read laws, not only website, they read manuals. So they know the inside of the process.
Definitely.
Lawyer તમને પોઈન્ટ નહીં વધારી શકે, પણ પોઈન્ટ વધારવાના રસ્તા બતાવી શકે કે તમે કેવી રીતે પોઈન્ટ્સ વધારી શકો.
Definitely.
લોયર તમારો કેસ છે, યુ હેવ ટુ પ્રૂવ યોર કેસ, રાઈટ? લોયર તમને ડેફિનેટલી હેલ્પ કરે ઓર્ગેનાઇઝ કરવા માટે. અને લોયર રોજનું રોજ આ કામ કરતો હોય એટલે એને ખબર છે કે શું ડોક્યુમેન્ટ્સ મૂકવાના છે, કેવી રીતે ફાઇલ ઓર્ગેનાઇઝ કરવાની છે. કારણ કે તમે જો એક વસ્તુ મિસ કરો તો એના કારણે આખી એપ્લિકેશન રિટર્ન આવે, રિફ્યુઝ થઈ શકે, એન્ડ ધેન યુ ગેટ ફ્રસ્ટ્રેટેડ. તો પહેલાં તમે કોઈને હાયર નહીં કરો. ઇફ યુ આર કમ્ફર્ટેબલ ડુઈંગ યોર સેલ્ફ, યુ નો હાઉ ટુ ડુ ઇટ, દેટ્સ ફાઇન, યુ કેન ડુ ઇટ. બટ મેની પીપલ ડોન્ટ નો, રાઈટ? અને પછી ફ્રસ્ટ્રેશન પછી આવે, રિફ્યુઝલ પછી કે રિટર્ન પછી, અને પછી એ લોકો લોયર પાસે જાય અને હવે કહે કે ડુ સમ મેજિક એન્ડ ફિક્સ ઇટ.
Definitely.
Which sometimes can be late.
Definitely. બહુ મુદ્દાની વાત તમે કરી ગયા છો. હું તમને 2-3 એક્ઝામ્પલ અમારા વ્યુઅર્સને મારા નોલેજ પ્રમાણે હું આપી દઉં કે આજે તમારી ગાડી બગડી ગઈ હોય, તમે મેન્યુઅલ જોઈને તમારી ગાડી નથી બનાવી શકતા. યુ હેવ ટુ ટેક ધેટ કાર ટુ ધ મિકેનિક્સ. કેમ કે એ એક્સપર્ટ છે, એમને ખબર છે કે ગાડીમાં એનું બ્રેન એ વાંચેલું છે, એ પડેલું છે. સેમ રીતે આજે તમે ઇમિગ્રેશન લોયર પાસે જશો તો એમણે બુક વાંચેલી છે, એમને રૂલ્સ અને રેગ્યુલેશન વાંચેલા છે, એમને ઇનસાઇડ આઉટ એમણે તમને ખબર છે. જે કે આપણે તો ખાલી યુટ્યુબ પર જઈને કે એની વેબસાઇટ પર જઈને આપણને એટલી ખબર પડી શકશે કે ભાઈ આ પ્રોસેસ છે, પણ એ પ્રોસેસને કેવી રીતે ચલાવવાની, કેવી રીતે પોઈન્ટ્સ લાવવાના, કેવી રીતે કામ કરવાનું, એ ડેફિનેટલી લોયર્સને ખબર વધારે હોય અમારા કરતાં.
અને મોહસિનભાઈ, આઈ વુડ લાઈક ટુ ગીવ વન એક્ઝામ્પલ રિસન્ટલી, રાઈટ. 2 વીક પહેલાં મારી પાસે એક ક્લાયન્ટ આવ્યો અને એની વાઈફ અહીંયા સ્ટુડન્ટ કે વર્ક પરમિટ પર હતી અને એ ઓપન વર્ક પરમિટ એની પાસે હતી અને એ એક્સપાયર્ડ થઈ રહેલી હતી. તો એણે બધું જાતે જ કરેલું, એટલે જાતે જ બધું તૈયાર કરીને નાયગરા બોર્ડર પર ચાલ્યો ગયો. બટ હી ડિડન્ટ નો કે તમારે એ રીતે બોર્ડર પર જઈને વર્ક પરમિટ લઈ નહીં શકાય. અમુક એક્સેપ્શન હોય, અમુક એક્સેપ્શનમાં તમને મળી શકે, બટ નોટ ઓલ, રાઈટ. હી ડિડન્ટ નો અને ત્યાં ગયો અને પછી રિફ્યુઝ થયો. અને નોટ ઓનલી દેટ, અને રિફ્યુઝ થયો અને એને ફ્લેગ પોલિંગ કરવું પડે, યુએસ જઈને એન્ટર થવું પડે. એની પાસે વિઝા ન હતા, એટલે એને ઇનએડમિસિબિલિટીનો રિપોર્ટ પણ મળી ગયો, કે એક્સક્લુઝન ઓર્ડર મળી ગયો કે યુ આર નાવ ઇનએડમિસિબલ ઇન કેનેડા, રાઈટ. એના કરતાં, અને એ પછી મારી પાસે આવ્યો એન્ડ આઈ શોડ હિમ હાઉ ટુ ફિક્સ ઇટ. બટ એના કરતાં એ પહેલાં ગયો હતો તો વધારે સ્મૂથલી અને ઇઝીલી થઈ ગયું હતું. The point is that.
Definitely. That's why 100% immigration lawyers are very important. Viewers, that you should take advice, and they're not charging any fee to go and talk to them. I don't think so કે કઈ પૈસા હશે કે આમાં સાથે કોઈ વાત કરવા તો તમે પૈસા ચાર્જ કરો.
Usually we charge, right? But કોઈ રેફરન્સ કે કશું હોય તો we don't charge. But definitely. Usually we charge for time.
Definitely. Okay. So અલ્તાફભાઈ, બીજો સવાલ એ હતો મારો કે can you tell us થોડા ઇન્ટરેસ્ટિંગ કેસ, કે તમારા જે ઇન્ટરેસ્ટિંગ કેસ તમારા જેલમાં કંઈ થયા હોય ને તમે કંઈ ઇમિગ્રેશનમાં કંઈ એવો બનાવ બન્યો હોય તો અમારા વ્યુઅર્સ સાથે તમે અગર થોડા એવા કંઈ શેર કરો કેસીસ, તો વી કેન એન્જોય ધીસ સેગમેન્ટ.
Definitely, Mohsin bhai. I mean, there are few, but I remember one time મારી પાસે એક સ્પોન્સરશિપ અપીલ હતી. સ્પોન્સરશિપ કોઈ ક્લાયન્ટે કરેલી અને એ રિફ્યુઝ થઈ. સો હી કેમ ટુ મી ટુ અપીલ ધી ડિસિઝન. અને આ ઘટના એટલા મને યાદ રહી કે બહુ ઇન્ટરેસ્ટિંગ છે. તો વી ફાઇલ ધી અપીલ, અને એડીઆર એક પ્રોસેસ હોય, અલ્ટરનેટિવ ડિસ્પ્યુટ રેઝોલ્યુશન. તેમાં જઈને અમે ડિસ્કસ કરીએ કે ફૂલ હિયરિંગ વગર કેસ સેટલ થઈ જાય, રાઈટ. એકવાર અમે ગયા અને મેટર સેટલ નહીં થઈ, અને બાય ધ ટાઈમ હિઝ વાઇફ ગોટ પ્રેગ્નન્ટ, અને એમનું ફ્રસ્ટ્રેશન વધતું જતું હતું, રાઈટ. અને પછી લકીલી અમને ચાન્સ મળ્યો બીજા એડીઆર માટે. સો વી વેન્ટ ધેર ફોર અનધર એડીઆર, અને એ એડીઆરમાં મિનિસ્ટરનો લોયર એગ્રી નહીં થયો. તો માય ક્લાયન્ટ વોઝ સો પીસ્ડ કે એને ખુરશીઓ ઉઠાવીને ફેંકવા માંડી. તો એવરીબડી ગોટ સ્કેર્ડ અને બધા ભાગી ગયા ત્યાંથી. સો આઈ વોઝ ધેર અને આઈ ટોલ્ડ ધેમ ગીવ મી ફ્યુ મિનિટ્સ વિથ માય ક્લાયન્ટ. અને પછી મેં એમને સમજાવ્યું કે ભાઈ આવી રીતે કરશે તો આપનો જ કેસ બગડશે, રાઈટ. એટલે ધીસ ઇઝ જસ્ટ અ પ્રોસેસ. બટ દેન આફ્ટર ફૂલ હિયરિંગ વી વોન ધી કેસ. સો આફ્ટર દેટ હી વોઝ હેપી, અને એમને છોકરું બંધ થઈ ગયું મીન વાઇલ ડ્યુરિંગ ધી પ્રોસેસ. બટ દેટ વોઝ હિલેરિયસ, એટલા માટે મને એ ઇન્સિડન્ટ યાદ રહી ગયો છે, રાઈટ. અને કેસીસની વાત કરીએ તો ઘણા ઇન્ટરેસ્ટિંગ કેસીસ આવેલા છે, પણ આઈ રિમેમ્બર વન કેસ વેર આઈ વોઝ વેરી ન્યૂ ઇન ધી ફિલ્ડ, એન્ડ ઇટ્સ that time there is a category for entrepreneurial immigration. If you have $300,000 net worth and you meet certain criteria, you can apply in the business category and come to Canada. So I got a client in US who has few businesses. So I submitted application for him under the business category, and to my surprise, it got refused. And I was new and I was very upset. So I told the client, don't pay me anything, just allow me to challenge this decision. So the client said, yeah, you can go ahead and challenge. So I filed a judicial review in Federal Court of Canada. I got the leave and the hearing was scheduled. So I found a case law that if a person is not meeting criteria from one business,
Yeah.
but if we aggregate many businesses he has,
Yeah.
and if he meets the criteria, still he is a business person.
Definitely.
So I found the case law and I faxed over to the other lawyer, and next day the hearing is there. So I went to the court, and the judge asked me, Mr. Patel, what is your funda today?
Yeah.
So I remember that because it's funny. He said, what's your funda today? I said, Your Honor, I don't have any funda, but I'm going to show you funda of immigration officer from the certified tribunal record. So I showed him that the different businesses, if we aggregate all the businesses, he meets the definition. And he said, oh, but let me check the law.
Yeah.
So judge went inside and brought a book, and he read the definition, and he said, Mr. Patel, it says a business.
Yeah.
A business means one business. I said, yes, you are right. But your brother Justice so and so decided differently.
Yeah.
And I put that case law on your dais.
Yeah.
And he read this. Yes, you are right.
Yeah.
So he asked minister's lawyer, what you say, and he said, no, it's a old application. If his client goes again and file a new application, he could benefit from the case law. And I said, the case law came before you rendered this decision.
Yeah.
So that was the law of land
Yeah.
when the day you rendered the decision. And they
Yeah.
just said, yes, if you are not going to settle this, I'm going to make the order. So these kind of interesting cases are there, and you remember this throughout your career.
No, definitely. That's very good. Altaf Bhai was telling the interesting stories that he had some throughout his career. And Altaf Bhai, last but not the least, I just want to ask you that when you call somebody on a visitor visa, can he get PR in Canada? And if the person is sponsoring them, if he think that he's going to stay back in Canada, is it the record of the person who is calling is going to be spoiled? Or is there any process that is not, doesn't matter if you're sponsoring somebody, he can come and stay back and get a PR? So what is the process if somebody comes on visitor visa, and how can he get PR? That's what I'm trying to ask you.
Okay. So if somebody comes on a visitor visa, it depends whether he can get PR or not. He can get PR or not. It depends on his qualification, experience, language proficiency. All he has to meet the criteria for permanent residency. But when you ask this question, because nowadays what's happening, back then we used to have a law that if you come here as visitor,
Yep.
if you want to change your status,
Yep.
you have to go outside Canada. Either you apply in your back home or a nearest consulate.
Yeah.
Right? Now, recently they changed this. They said you can apply within Canada to change your status, and that policy is completely misconstrued by overseas agents.
Yeah.
So what they do, they get visitor visas to people and tell them go to Canada and change your status from visitor to worker.
Definitely.
But they don't tell them to get the work permit, you need LMIA. There are other requirements which are not waived.
Yeah.
The policy has changed from not to apply within Canada to apply within Canada.
Yeah.
But they haven't waived the criteria. The criteria is still there.
Yeah.
So let's say if from visitor to worker, you need LMIA, and based on LMIA or whatever the credentials you have, you may apply down the road for the permanent residency.
So they can get permanent
Yes,
residency.
depending on the
If
qualification.
it's qualification. I hope the viewers you enjoyed the question that you asked, because Altaf Bhai, this was very important question. The question, as you're right, the agents, they send back home from back home to Canada, and they say, okay, just go there and change from visitor to PR. But there, as you said, there is a process. There's a LMIA
Yes.
that you have to
To get the
follow
work
to
permit.
get the work permit. So thank you for answering that questions. And Altaf Bhai, I just want to thank you once again
Thank you,
for
Mohsin.
coming on our Harriman studio, and we really appreciate your precious time. Last time is just wanted to give you 1 minute if you want to add something to our viewers, that if you want to say something for our viewers that if you want immigration work to get done, or any kind of spousal work or international students. Just cap everything in one brief message to our viewers, please.
Well, my advice to the people, be truthful on your immigration application, because that's the biggest problem we see when we deal with misrepresentation. I mean, because the time is short today, we are not going to cover about the misrepresentation, because it's one of the issues we see more and more now. So be truthful and have faith.
That's it.
Thank you, Mohsin bhai. Thank
No
you
problem.
very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you, Altaf bhai. Once again, thank you so much for joining today at our studio, Herman TV, and we really appreciated your time and effort. The work you're doing for our community, it's outstanding. We know you do a lot of work for our community, and also when a time comes, if we called you or somebody else calls you, definitely you help them out. So please keep doing the great work. And also, if anybody has a question for brother Altaf Patel, he already mentioned he is located at Markham and Shepherd area. Their office is named as SP Law. So please do not hesitate to visit their office. And just want to say, viewers, if you haven't downloaded the app, please download the app. We will be coming back to you next week at the same time, Friday 6 p.m. with the new guest. We have a different guest this year. We're trying to bring a sister to our studio. So it's going to be a Taslim Bala, who is a community activist, and she's going to be joining us next week. So please stay tuned. And I just wanted to say, Altaf bhai, one more time, thank you so much for coming. And viewers, for now, Assalamu Alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.